What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are finally back with another episode review for The Bad Batch after a week off last week, and boy, what a time to come back, as I think this is actually my favourite episode so far. As always, there will be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, then be sure to watch it before you come back and watch this one. There are some rather big moments in this episode, so you definitely don't want to have those spoiled. So anyway, getting stuck straight into it, the episode once again took place on Bracca, which was great to see, and it was nice to finally have a bit of continuity after most of the episodes so far have seemed to be a little bit sort of self-contained and tend to have that same structure of starting on a planet, doing a job and heading to the next planet before the episode ends. So it was definitely nice to get an episode that directly followed on from the last one. It was obviously set up pretty well that when the Empire were called, Crosshair and the team were going to be the ones who dealt with the Bad Batch, and that was pretty much where the episode started, with Rampart actually mentioning that he just wanted the Bad Batch eliminated, which the Kaminoans did not like at all, and we got a bit of an early insight that they are still trying to return the Bad Batch, or at least Omega anyway, and that in order to do that they are actually using bounty hunters. This not only confirms that Fennec is definitely working for the Kaminoans, which was always the most likely situation, but it also confirms that they were sending another bounty hunter after them, since the situation on Bracca was obviously escalating after Rampart said he wanted to take them out, and that got me excited straight away at the possibility of just who it might be. Now, I initially thought it was maybe going to even be Boba, since obviously he had worked with, or at least been involved with, the Kaminoans before, and for pretty much his whole childhood really. So my first thoughts were Boba, or maybe just one of the other bounty hunters like Bosk or someone. But somehow Cad Bane slipped my mind, considering he is one of my favourite characters in the Clone Wars, and when it was revealed that it was him, I absolutely lost my shit. Now, before we touch on Cad Bane anymore, there were plenty of other big moments in this episode, one of which was Crosshair actually being hurt pretty badly by the ion engine. It seems he got some pretty serious damage that I imagine is actually going to be permanent. I'm wondering whether there'll be any changes to his armour to accommodate for his injuries, in the same way that Vader's armour obviously helps him out with his injuries. I did have that little theory that Crosshair could possibly be one of the first Death Troopers, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see whether he gets any changes to his helmet. They definitely made it a bit of a focal point that he has obtained those injuries, so I feel like there might be a bit more to it, but we will just have to wait and see. Also, shout out to my man Doug, who actually noticed that Crosshair was sort of rubbing his inhibitor chip around that time too, in the same way that the rest of the Bad Batch had been throughout the series. Whether that means anything or not, I'm not really too sure yet. Obviously he has already turned, so he can't really go bad from it, but perhaps it's actually malfunctioning in the other way, as in it could end up breaking and he pretty much turns back to the light side again, so that is something worth keeping an eye on for sure. I do personally think Crosshair will be redeemed by the end of the show, but again, that's just another thing to add to the list of having to wait and see. Now, getting back to Cad Bane, his arrival actually has a pretty big impact on many more things than just this episode, or at least it has the potential to have a big impact anyway. I'm sure the majority of you already know, but for those who didn't, in the unfinished episodes of the Clone Wars from way back when it was cancelled, Bane and Boba actually had a standoff, and Boba Fett actually took Cad Bane out. So even though that was never published and therefore it's not canon, a lot of people out there, myself included, kind of just assumed Cad Bane was dead because that was seemingly their initial plan. His return obviously means he is still alive in canon, which is definitely great, as like I said, he is one of my favourite characters, and not only is it awesome that he's still alive, but it does actually set up the fact that he could possibly end up returning in live action in something like the Book of Boba Fett, or really just any upcoming shows if those shows make sense for him to appear. And considering the influence that Filoni has on all of the Star Wars shows now, it definitely wouldn't surprise me if we do see him once again, whether that be in another animated show or hopefully even in live action. Now, lastly, he will also be showing up in the Bad Batch again, as he actually managed to capture Omega as well at the end of the episode, and I'd assume that he'll now return her to the Kaminoans to collect his bounty, or at least that's possibly his goal anyway. Whether that ends up happening, it is hard to say, as the Bad Batch could get to him first, or even the Empire for that matter, so it's pretty hard to tell how it's all going to happen, but I think that is now the most intriguing storyline in the show. Omega being captured definitely means the Bad Batch will be going after her, and likely putting themselves in quite a bit of danger considering they are still on the run obviously. They did manage to come away with a fair amount of weapons in that episode, so whether they use them or even just sell them for anything else they need, I think they will mount an offensive in the coming episodes, possibly even getting the help of Rex and whoever he was currently working with, which would be pretty awesome to see. It definitely seems as though this series is starting to pick up the pace quite a bit, and I could not be more excited. The show did start a little bit slow to be fair, but these last two episodes have been honestly some top tier Star Wars, and I think there is still plenty more exciting stuff to come. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode, and let me know what you think will be happening in the next few episodes in relation to Crosshair and Omega. I'm honestly just completely unsure where the series is going at this this point, and I think it is actually great to have no real expectations of what's to come. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. As always, a massive thank you to my channel members and my patrons for the continued support. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel as well, then be sure to check out the Patreon page that is linked down in the description. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Crush them! Make them suffer!